Actually tell them, hey, I see them numbers up there. That means we're live. Good evening, panel. Good evening,
Good
everybody.
evening.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening
evening.
to my lovely panel. I mean, I got a female panel running across here tonight. You know what I mean? It's is it Women's History Month?
Every month is Women's History Month.
Every
There's
month
nothing
is
called
Women's
girl
History
power.
Month.
Every month. Yeah,
We
we
rule
got a
the
lot of
world.
knowledge. It's a lot of knowledge out here going on today. Hey, y'all, well, if you just chiming in or tuning in or whatever it is that got you in, we're all part of I'm Party Marty, Let's Talk. Coming to you from blackusa.news, Donnie Glover, bemorenews.com, and affiliates. If persons don't know this, this is, I guess, the term I would use, a syndicated show, meaning people say, well, how do I get to see it? I mean, you want to go on Facebook, you can see it. You want to click on to YouTube, you can see it. Go to the internet and just say, I want to watch I'm Party Marty, Let's Talk, and our show will come up. So really, I just want to say to that brother Donnie Glover, you know what I mean, blackusa.news that I now know the name of, and bemorenews.com, that we appreciate all that you're doing. If anybody doesn't know, our format is we talk about a few topics. We have an illustrious panel who get up here and talk on their topics, and we chime in. At any time somebody wants to chime in, they can, they do, and they will if you're new to this podcast and see what's going on. We have some topics we want to talk about. We always start our show off with first getting our prayer in, because prayer is important. Hey, listen, I want everybody to understand this. Two things. First thing, this is not a black show or white show. This is an informative show. We just kick out information where information is power. The second thing is, real talk, y'all. We're all here to learn. And I mean all of us. We're here to learn. We're on some topics. So just, kick back, jump in your topic, find out what you want to talk about. You'll be surprised. Donnie's giving us an extra half hour. We're no longer an hour show. We're an hour and a half because personally, we've earned it. First thing I learned that Donnie taught me is small words like, I'll give Donnie some knowledge later on. Some small words like, you know what I mean? It's not a word. When I didn't know any better, I would say, my show, I show, you know what I mean? I didn't know that I'm saying it. I don't know I say NRL. I don't know saying things like that. You find out when you keep watching the podcast over and over again, like I do, and I try to learn from it. Only problem is I don't get any better. I still say I'm around, you know what I mean? Whatever. That's just what we do. Because what we're doing, we're coming to you in your living room, your dining room, your porch, basement, wherever you are. We're coming to you as real people. I mean, this ain't, you know what I mean, that with a whole bunch of practicing and stuff like that. People do their research. I mean, Gina is our historian. She does her research. Karen, we call her our information gathering, holy roly Bible toter. We tease Twyla and stuff like that. Twyla got a wall full of degrees and stuff, so she talks in layman's terms. She never try to talk over your head. And if you don't know that person next to you that has the same last name I do is Tate, we're going to laugh at Twyla because Twyla always there. Everybody in this damn thing named Tate. But anyway,
Ain't nothing better.
yeah. But we don't know. But, yeah. We don't know. My wife, Cece, is a geek. All she does is read. She's been doing a lot of research on her information this evening. Okay, we always start off with our prayer. People, 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 people. Shout out to Kurt. He was my sponsor. I'm never hiding my story, ex-dope fiend, West Baltimore, jailbird thug, you know what I mean? Kurt was my sponsor, and he's a Muslim. And he used to talk to me, and he explained something to me. Jack, stop. We get so confused. Want information? Y'all get some information. We all pray to one God, y'all. If you don't know that, ask Karen, the Holy Roly Bible told her. We all pray to one God. I don't care if it's Buddha. I don't care if it's Allah. I don't care if it's Jesus, whatever it is. We pray to one God. Everybody has a God. I don't care if you worship trees. I don't care if you worship blue Mercedes Benz. Somewhere along the line, we learned this when I was getting clean off drugs and stuff. Find you a God of your understanding or somebody you can talk to. All right, first we're going to get our quick prayer and prayer starting. Father God, thank you for the wonderful things that's going on in all our lives. Father God, thank you for the panel. Thank you for Donnie Glover and BeMoreNews.com, BlackUSA.news. Thank you for all these podcasts and information gathering. Father God, we're going to set aside a special. Let me get Al in there. Al had surgery. I don't know if it's mine. He doesn't talk much. Al Wise, who is our anchor man from our show, he's not with us because he had surgery today. It's something small, probably his mouth or something he was saying, but whatever. We're a praying group, and let's pray for Al that he gets to return us, with himself. And let's now pray for the jurors, pray for the hearts, pray for the souls of the world and stuff like that that got this guilty verdict on all counts. Father God, for those people that God touched, for the people that was listening to stuff, and let us breathe so we're not burnt down. Let us rejoice and stuff so we feel like we made a difference. And if anybody doesn't ever understand this small thing that I'm saying to you, y'all, please, people, pray for those people over there fighting them God-forsaken wars so we can sit over here and eat bonbons and laugh and do podcasts. Right now, we have a quick moment of silence, and please, in a moment of silence, y'all, think about somebody that you want to think about. Even if tonight you want to think about George Floyd, if you want to think about that man that lost his life tonight. Father God, moment of silence, please. Amen. Hey,
Amen.
first of all, good evening, everybody. Let's start off by giving the verdict a hand. Let's give the jurors and the verdict America a hand on that guilty verdict, on that guilty verdict, on that guilty verdict. We'll start off with that. That was an awesome situation to get started. We're going to change our format a little. This time, we're just going to throw out to the panel because everybody has a comment on the verdict. Twyla made a good point, and I'm going to let Twyla start. I'm going to say what I have to say. I said, wasn't that great about the verdict? You know what I mean? Guilty, unanimous all across the board. And Twyla, even after hearing him saying everybody's guilty, Twyla had a heck of a comment. Go ahead, give it to us, Twyla.
I just said it's hard to be joyful in this moment because we still have 8 weeks to the verdict. And for me, that's when, I'll be, counting blessings and thanking, the jurors for their great job. Because until then, I mean, even though he's been considered guilty, until he gets some time to serve, and I'm saying 40 years because I think that's the maximum.
Yeah.
For me, it's just bittersweet.
I didn't know. Cece made a good point to me that I didn't know when it was all over with. Cece informed me that we're so ignorant to some things. Do you know that this man has been out on bail the whole time through this trial?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know I did not know that? I did not know that when they said he'll be remanded into custody. I mean, remanded into what? Taken from one cell to another? Cece said he's been home. He has not been locked up. That's crazy. Gina Lee, your comment on the situation and the verdict?
Well, I'll just say, and I said it before, I can breathe now because they've at least had a verdict. I was hesitant in thinking that they were going to convict him. But I'm glad they did find him guilty. If they give him the minimum sentence on all 3 counts, he'll be in there for a minute. And
Yeah.
in Minneapolis, if you are sentenced to 10 years, you cannot do less than 9.
Wow.
You can't get good behavior like in some other states. So,
To that
I agree with Twyla. I will, keep the family in my prayers and hope that justice will be served.
CC, unmute yourself, or Donnie, unmute CC. You're muted, C. Talk about what you were saying about what I heard about the verdict. C.
Oh, well, what I was saying is that even though I agree with Tyler, we remain cautiously optimistic about what will happen in the next 8 weeks, but at the same time, I think that we have to count every small victory going forward, and even though we still have to wait for the sentencing, and I think that you know I forget what I think he said that it was a Brady rule that he had went consented to, which was meaning that Excuse me.
Nothing. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I thought somebody was talking, but
No.
in a sense that's just meaning that instead of the instead of him having a jury to decide on the nuances of the charges, then it will be up to the judge. And I kind of, in my opinion, got a glimpse of what the judge was about. So we will have to wait and see, if we're all right, if we're all wrong, or what's going to happen. But it seemed to me like, in this one woman's opinion, that I felt like the judge was kind of uh, empathetic towards him. So,
CC, I want you to continue that comment as you were saying what the judge made that statement about, and you'll talk about it later on. I'm sure we'll discuss that when he's trying to say that's a reason for a mistrial or something. What was that comment that you was telling me from the room?
oh yeah, for he's pretty much set up the grounds for the the defense to have grounds for a mistrial, because he was saying, because of what Maxine Waters' comments were
Okay,
about about we had to get more confrontational if it was a not guilty verdict. So I
right.
think that he gave the defense something to use, even if it wasn't something that they originally planned to use. So that's
Okay.
why I say, he's a little suspect in my eyes, but we shall see.
Yeah. Karen, Donnie, unmute or even unmute yourself. I'm gonna let you bring us home with your closing thoughts on that. And Karen, I use if y'all don't understand, we laugh and what people say, and we'll talk about that later because I have a topic. When I call my niece Karen Holy Roly Bible told her, I call her Holy Roly Bible told her actually because that's what she is. If you don't know her, her family is into the church. She's a big time church volunteer. Her husband is up on the pulpit. I mean, these people do that. And if you say to Karen about being a holy roly Bible told her, that's not anything she is saying. That's a badge of honor to her. When you say that to my mother, Catherine, the late great Catherine Tates, they put a lot of work into being what they are. So I get these opinions from them from the novice side. So Karen could tell us that. Karen, give us your opinion, how you feel about it as being a praying person and just, being over there in where you at in North Carolina, where, excuse me, I hate to say this, I apologize, in North Carolina, where all them fools got guns. I mean, over there, it's not. It's a military state. I mean, all of them have guns. I mean, when I say all of them have guns, they ride around with their guns on their trucks. You know what I mean? You say something, hey Andre, how you doing? Hoorah! I mean, that's just how it is. So when them kind of places go off, I mean, they go off with guns. Karen, give us your opinion, please.
Well, I mean, I agree with the panel. At this point, we do have to wait and see. CC also, with the judges, they have certain parameters that they can operate within with, setting sentence and time. They can go below a certain amount, but not above a certain amount. And, like you were saying, Gina, about the 9 years. So I agree with all of that. And from the Holy Roly Bible Toter stance,
Yes.
God is all about justice.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is all about justice. There's a scripture in the Bible that says that the law is for the lawless. And so we will, but everything right now is in the hands of man. And so, we just have to pray that justice is served and that people would do the right thing. The people that are in authority would do the right thing. And I pray not for a mistrial. Absolutely not. So I don't know.
Awesome, awesome, awesome panel. And if anybody's not aware or didn't know this, is it was unanimous, meaning everyone,
Yeah.
everyone, everyone found him guilty. Once
Yeah.
again, listen to me. Everyone found him guilty. I don't know if it's been a unanimous verdict of anything of this sort ever. I think they deliberated for a couple days. Come on, man. You know what I
Let
mean? They
Less of the day. I was surprised that they came back so early.
I
you
was too.
I was
I
because
surprised
was
that they
too.
came back so early.
And and it made me feel optimistic, but at the same time, we've seen this before. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
we
I'll
can
tell
never
you,
keep the gun and assume anything.
you know it,
the last jury that I served on, um, of course you can't talk about anything, each time you're dismissed and all that. But I mean, when it's a guilty verdict, they usually don't take too long. There's not a whole lot to mull over. And you're given, you're given a form. You have to find this, you have to find that. And if all of you agree with all of this, then it's a guilty verdict. And we came, I mean, even when we did what we did, we came back the same day, so.
And I mean, just like Richard Pryor say, who I'm going to believe, you or my lying eyes. You know what I'm saying? It was just, the evidence was just so overwhelming. But it's so many nuances in the justice system until it was cut and dry to most of us. Like, how could you not see that he was guilty? But there's so many loopholes in the law until you just never know.
That's the issue. That's the issue there, because you can have a whole jury. We do our civic duty, but what it boils down to is what the judge says, based on the parameters that he can operate within. That's really what it boils down to.
Yeah. They gave you a format and guidelines to figure this thing out, and a lot of things I didn't figure out. But after he told us exactly what you had to decide on, then I realized that no matter what, he was guilty. As Cece said, believe me or your lying eyes. That's a Richard Pryor joke. Okay, Gina, Rosanna, Dana, Anna, you always have a couple topics for us. So you'll start with us so you can get one of your topics in and get back, unmute yourself, or Donnie. Wait a minute. I forgot. I almost blew that one, Twilight. Did you see me? Y'all, you know what I mean? As I segue in, y'all let me do my thing. Y'all know how I am. I'm talking from Party Marty. I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. I got this smooth thing out there at TV land as I segue in, and then I'll let you know what's going on. I usually stop like this and I go like, Gina, what's your topic tonight? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk. On you, Gina. Hit yourself one more time. Now you up. You ready? You can talk now, Gina. I
Can
know
you
you're
hear
gonna
me?
yeah, everybody can hear you. Please don't say that. Every time you say, can you hear me? You gone. Remember Al? Say, can you hear me? And he gone. Go ahead, Gina.
Well, first of all, this is Gina Lee reporting from Party Marty Let's Talk.
There we go.
And I have two topics tonight. My first topic is in regards to the home monitoring fees. Now, this is something I didn't know, that it'll soon be illegal to force poor pre-trial defendants to pay home detention monitoring fees. And I was like, home detention monitor? I thought they just put the break home and that's that. But in 2018, there was a report released that stated Maryland needed to eliminate the monitoring fees for poor defendants sitting in pre-trial, but had been released to go home for home detention. So now most of the counties, especially Baltimore City, contract with private companies who supervise these defendants who are at home. But the big problem,
yeah, that actual home monitoring thing, like I say, I'm never ashamed of my past. I was on home monitoring, that bracelet they put on you, they send you in the house, and I can't imagine. I didn't know it was a fee, but when I was going to jail,
I was about to say that's news to me, because I always thought that it was free. I mean,
but everybody that was on it would be happy to pay it. If they told me to come home from jail to sit over there and say umbrella, basketball, barometer. Let me get that. Hey, Gina, welcome back.
okay. The big problem with this pretrial issue was the cost that the defendants have to pay. And I was like, I didn't know they had to pay anything. That was new to me. Mm-hmm. They got to pay $250 to set the thing up. Then $7 to $20 per day
Per
for
day.
the monitoring system. That's about $600 a month. And then $100 for random urinalysis tests, $200 to disconnect the thing.
That's a
And so if
grand the
you
first
can't
month.
pay, you're violating the lease and you risk going back to jail.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
was like, what? So this was important because in the pandemic, to reduce the pretrial population, they were sending people home on.
Yeah, they were
Wow.
sending people home on home months, and they know that that's something. Let me tell you something. Well, it was different to me when I was doing my thing. I was a drug dealer, so I was happy. Anybody send me home, I don't give a damn for $600 a month or $6,000 a month. So we didn't know. I didn't even know that it cost. So maybe when I was
But
getting in
but
trouble years ago, it wasn't that in effect. Go ahead.
that's just exploiting poor and disenfranchised people. That's all
Yeah.
that it's doing.
And
And
it just
where does that money go?
right.
You know what?
And it
Wow.
creates
It's a back
a path
pocket.
to recidivism. It's just creating a path to recidivism. You don't have to commit a crime. Don't pay that bill. You going back to jail. Like that's
Absolutely.
not fair.
Exactly.
Absolutely. They're gonna get that
Gina,
money one way
Gina,
or
they
another.
literally charge you again if you don't pay the bill.
If you don't pay the bill, you can go back to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
If you
And
don't
get a
pay the
charge,
bill,
probably get another charge for some kind of
and
violation
probably
of
get,
your.
Right.
yeah, exactly,
That's
exactly,
crazy. Keep going,
exactly.
Gina.
So what I mean, what is it? I mean, you're actually being violated for being poor.
Mm-hmm.
For being poor.
Wow.
You know,
And they don't
so here's
they
what
don't
the
have
crime
any
was.
waivers or anything available for that program.
No, no, and
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was like, I never knew that. I thought they just, like I said, put the bracelet on them and sent them home. You know,
Me
You
too.
know,
Me
somebody,
too.
one of the panel members, one of y'all geeks and stuff like that, check and see what it literally. Because I heard a startling figure what it actually costs per inmate to be incarcerated for a year. Some astronomical figure.
I wonder,
Any,
is it the same for? I'm sorry, is it the same for kids, like young people under 18 that are on home detention or in juvenile justice?
I don't
Are
know.
they getting
Are some of them on? They let them come home on home
yeah,
monitor
they
too.
come on home monitoring as well.
Jesus Christ. Well, I'm gonna tell you, them
Mm.
little bad bastards, they mother ain't paying for them, so I know that can't be right. That can't be right.
Well, my second topic was I ran across this story and it just touched my heart because they had a video about the gentleman. His name is Ricky Johnson, and he was born in 1957. I think that's what really got me to begin with. Was he was born the same year I was,
Same year we were.
and right, and he and his friend Ronnie Bridgman and Ronnie's brother Wiley was standing in front of a store, and they went on about their business, but sometime shortly after, someone killed the store owner. They beat him, poured acid in his face, and shot him. And this was in Ohio though. And this gentleman has spent from 1975 until 2014. That's for almost 40 years he spent in
Decades.
jail. He is the longest person to be incarcerated and then exonerated. He has the longest record.
Did that happen here?
And no, this was in Ohio.
Okay, okay. Because there
But
was something like that here as well. Well, not in my town, but in the state.
yeah, they spent 30, I think 36 years.
You know that
But
what was it? Go ahead, Gina.
so it touched me because when they showed the video of him, which was current, and they showed him in front of this big, beautiful mansion that he lives in now because they had given him all kinds of money when he got out to I guess say, well, we're sorry or whatever. He's got millions and millions of dollars. The other brothers, the two friends, his friends and the brother, they got millions as well because they all got out. And it just, the reason they got out was because the person who was the witness was a 12-year-old boy at the time. And he had been pressured by the police to say that they were guilty. Now they have lost 40 years of their lives on a lie, and it just, I'm like, when he was sitting in front of his beautiful home, you could see he was, he said, I have everything I need now. And he was content with riding around on his little tractor around on his grass and cutting his grass. That was his meditation. But you could see on his face that he had really, really missed life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Literally.
and no amount of money that they could give him was going to replace that.
Right.
So I would say, it's the sad part about it was that one of the brothers, the one that they claimed drove a getaway car, he was not, in fact, they did not find anything to convict them. There was no gun. They didn't find a gun. They didn't find the briefcase that they say the man they supposedly took. They didn't have. The only witness was this little boy. And then after 40 years, he tells a priest that he had been coerced by the police to say this story. But the brother who they say that was driving the getaway car, he now may go back to jail because of a vehicular manslaughter charge. He's been in a terrible accident, and the other driver, Pat, died. So, it's just, I mean, life is
It's, it's so funny how that they always think that anything that pertains to black and brown people, that you can just pay them some money and it heals all wounds. What can you do to pay a person? How much could you possibly pay a person for 40 years of their life? I mean, that's a lifetime.
You undoubtedly don't have any children. You went to jail too young, probably, to have any kids. You don't have anybody that's going to carry your name when it's all over with. You don't have any life skills. I'm talking about topics that I know about, being an ex-jailbird dope fiend that I talk about, and I'm proud of. I'll tell you about it later on. I'm proud of my past because I know my future. But let me tell you something, real talk. In jail, you be beaten, abused, raped, molested, then abandoned. Listen at me again. Anybody that's within my ear sight. When you're in jail, you can be beaten, abused, raped, molested, and abandoned. If anybody watched what is it, the something Park 5? What was that, y'all? The kids over in New York in the
Oh yeah, about the Central Park 5.
Central Park 5, yeah. Them guys, they showed that story. And, me and my wife happened to watch it and stuff like that. One of them guys was okay because he was tough. But the other one was a chump. All kind of things happened to him. You know what I mean? I'm going to tell you something. I don't care if you Muhammad Ali. If 8 people come into your cell with a sheet, they can rape you. You know what I mean? They can beat you. I know it's a hole in my stomach. I've been stabbed before, and them godforsaken tears. When you go out in that mass yard, if people don't know this about that life, you go outside in the yard, 763 inmates. You know who goes out there with you? 3 guards. 3 guards go out in the city jail's mass yard with you with 768 inmates, and they stand right around there by the gate, the door.
Mm-hmm.
And they are taught that if anything happens, what do? CC, they're comforting in jails. They go back inside. Do you think they run
Mm-hmm.
over there and break up a fight? Do you think three people can stop a fight? Are you kidding? That's not
Absolutely.
what it
Mm-hmm.
is. You'll never hear you scream. So,
Mhm.
Gina,
And not to mention that even after you released after doing that kind of time, I mean the psychological, the emotional toll that it can take on you. I mean, you being released to you come out to look at the world 40 years later. It's
It's a
not the
different
world
place.
you left behind.
Mm-mm.
You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
Nope.
I know I had a brother that was incarcerated for 20 years. God rest his soul. But we had to send him pictures of the changes that was happening around
Mm-hmm.
town when they Murphy Homes went down and when they took Lexington Terrace down and they put because otherwise, if and when you come home, you won't even know where you are. You won't
Nope.
recognize it.
CC, this is a
I,
sorry thing to say, though, and I'm gonna let you come back behind this twirler. But CC, not to tell your business, but this is an informative show. When you talk about your brother that was in jail for 20 years, tell the whole story about him being in jail for 20 years.
Well,
How
my
did he?
brother,
When did he come home from jail?
he never came home. He committed
He.
suicide in prison.
Do you
Mhm.
think your brother committed suicide?
I don't.
Absolutely not.
I don't.
Absolutely
I
not.
mean,
It's
that's
more
the
people
story
that's
that was given to us, so
it's
that's
more
all the
people
facts show.
it's more people that are murdered in jail that's accordingly committed suicide than you'll ever believe. And her mother never got to see him again. She grew up without a big brother. You know what I mean? And this is one last thing, then we'll move on to Twyla. Do you think that your brother committed the crime that he was locked up for?
Absolutely not.
Did anybody think that he committed the crime that he was locked up for?
Absolutely not.
But he was too
Absolutely
young.
not.
Go ahead, see. He was
Yes, but
too.
he was 19 years old. He was poor,
Mhm.
and the crime that he was accused of was something that was happening in the neighborhood that they needed a scapegoat for, and they found one. You
They
Mhm.
know,
call
so
his
it
the
was
wreckage of his past. The wreckage of his past because of
absolutely,
his record.
absolutely.
They looked at his
Hmm.
record, and that's all they saw. Twyla.
And the bad thing about it was that's why I say, people can't tell me that bad things don't happen to good people because it would be one thing if it was the wreckage of his past. But he was 19 years old with no criminal record. This was his
Mm.
very first interaction ever
Mhm.
with the law, and he got 40 years. You know what
Jeez.
I'm saying? So, it doesn't matter. Sometimes if you don't have the resources, if you don't have the money to put up the good fight, and just like all of these years, I'm happy to see all these social justice movements happening today. But I always tell Maurice that the only difference between now and then is that everyone's walking around with a camera in their pocket. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying?
That's
So the
very
things
true.
that were once done behind closed doors, they are brought to the forefront. Do we think that George Floyd would have ever gotten any justice had it not been for the courage of a 17-year-old girl who stood there and recorded that because even a child knew that she was witnessing something that was wrong?
Mhm.
Twyla.
It's super devastating. I mean, when you think about trying to inform young people that this is what can happen to you, right? So I remember working for the police department in Baltimore County. We used to take these kids to the Skid Straight program, to Clifton T. Perkins, right? And all of these young guys who were no longer young, but who went to Clifton T. Perkins as 13-year-olds, as 15-year-olds, as 16-year-olds, and they were in their 30s and 40s and 50s, trying to encourage or deter these young people from making these poor decisions that they made. And some of the decisions were just, again, lack of resources, not having the financial support to beat a case, or not having the proper judges, or proper attorneys to support them. So it's just it's really devastating. But I did look up just how much it costs to incarcerate a person.
Yes.
And so the most recent data that I saw was in 2015, it cost around $45,000 in the state of Maryland to incarcerate someone. And then overall in this country, we spent over $80 billion to incarcerate people. And they're saying that number is underinflated to incarcerate people each year. So, I mean, that's money that could be spent, for a lot of our folks who are in jail or drug addicts who could use some sort of treatment or mental health issue, folks who have mental health issues who could use some sort of health care. And so, yeah, that money could definitely be used in a different way. But again, it starts honestly in third grade with our kids. They start developing how successful our children are going to be in third grade. So they develop the prison to school, the school to prison pipeline starts in third grade. How I don't even know how you can determine that a third grader, what he's going to be at 18 is beyond me. But we really have to be more proactive, as communities, to do what we can to ensure that people are getting the services that they need. And
Twala,
Absolutely.
Twala, passionate, full of energy right now. Could you do me a favor, please? I would like for you to go ahead with your topic now, because this seems like something that you're already ready for. So, as I segue in, if you don't know what I do, y'all, I say, Party Marty, what's your topic tonight? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
this is Twyla reporting for Party Marty. Let's talk.
Okay.
I got it right, y'all.
You got it, babe. You got it.
And today, so the other day I was on social media and something popped up from Be More News, and it was a young lady named Charlene Lady J Jenkins. I think she has like some kind of talk show, or she's some sort of community advocate. I don't know her. I don't follow her. But this video popped up, and the video was probably about 30, 45 minutes or an hour long. And it was just about this one particular young lady who is having issues in her apartment complex with mice and rodents. And just so not just the overall situation where this woman, went in, she talked to the young lady, saw how the woman was living, just a young woman with 2 children trying to do the best that she can with what she has, and just the conditions, and then the attitude of the management company. And so the young lady, Miss Jenkins, went down to speak to the management company to see if she could get help for the young lady. And just their attitudes was a disgrace. And so it's just, when you think about it, and I made a comment in the comment section that, this is not just a one person problem, right? So one person's having an issue with rats and rodents, the entire complex. But furthermore, what my point that I'm trying to make tonight is residents coming together, right, and advocating for themselves. If everybody comes together and says, hey, we're having this problem, and holding these folks accountable, now is the time. We coming up on an election season, right? We're going to start voting for the governor in a couple of years, or, all these other folks. And so holding them accountable, holding them to task for what they're saying they're supposed to be doing, and fighting for the blight in our neighborhoods. And so I just thought it was disheartening. The young lady lived, I think, what appeared to be, those apartments that are on Pennsylvania Avenue, kind of near, right across from, they start kind of by Shake and Bacon and kind of just go further down.
Yeah.
So I think it was that apartment complex from what areas that I noticed, right? Okay. And so just, people advocating for themselves. And so I looked up some resources, because I don't know if somebody might be watching from that show tonight, right?
Somebody is watching.
Like, not only should you be, holding your city council person accountable, holding your state representative accountable, there are some organizations that are available to help families who are in need. And so not only subsidized families, but non-subsidized families. A question was asked, was she on Section 8? And so she said no, and that she was, but she was paying rent, subsidized rent, right, based on her income. And so that's another thing I want to debunk. People think that people on Section 8 don't pay rent. People on Section 8 pay 30% of their gross income, right? So if depending on how much money you make, you could be paying base rent, and base rent could be whatever it is. Let's say $1,500, depending on how much income you make, you could be paying base rent, even though you're on Section 8. So let me debunk that, people's ignorance. But there's some organizations out here in Baltimore and the state of Maryland, one being the Public Justice Center in Baltimore. I'm just going to say out the phone number real quick. It's 410-625-9409. And then there's Maryland Legal Aid. They have lawyers that are set up specifically to assist people in these sorts of situations, tenant landlord situations. And that organization can be reached at 410-951-7777. And one other organization, I'm familiar with this when I worked for Housing Authority. I've had several jobs in my life, right? But they definitely help people. You don't have to be homeless, but the Homeless Persons Representation Project, and they help families who are dealing with landlord issues. And so that number is 443-402-5395. And so I hope if there's someone out there who is having some issues with their landlord and needs some support and some advocacy, somebody that knows the laws, please use those resources to get some services. Because even though you're poor, you do not deserve to live in squalor. You do not deserve to live with mice and rats and roaches, especially when you're paying rent. Somebody, if I'm going to the lease office and saying I'm having this issue, I need you all to come in and do your part. And doing it once a month, fumigating once a month is not enough, especially in situations like in Baltimore City, because we know we have a rat problem in Baltimore City, period. Right? So, yeah.
Twala, awesome topics. Can you help us one more time? You had so much information there. Can you those three agencies? Can you repeat them again slowly, and the phone number, please?
So the first agency is called the Public Justice Center.
Okay.
And that number is 410-625-9409.
Okay.
Maryland Legal Aid. They provide pro bono lawyers. And so that number is 410-951-7777.
Okay.
And then finally, it's the Homeless Persons Representation Project. And that number is 443-402-5395.
Thank you very much, Twala. Great topic, very informative. If anybody's out there listening.
And another thing, just to jump in on what Twala is saying, hold everybody accountable, but hold your neighbors accountable as well. Because just like you said, if it's one person got rats and roaches, everybody else in that whole complex has them too. And people don't just assume that a person just like living the way they live. You know, sometimes you have elderly people, sometimes you have disabled people. You know what I'm saying? See what you can do to help. Be a part of the solution. You know, you may have an elderly neighbor that can't clean their apartment and doesn't have any family. You know, it won't kill you to go over there and run the vacuum clean and wash a few dishes every now and then. So, you know, we have to become that village again.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Most definitely. Great topics, Twala. A lot of information. We're going to save Karen for later. Cece, I know you have a burning desire. Here's where I segue into you. I was just wondering, what's your topic tonight, Cece? I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
This is Cece reporting in for I'm Party Marty. Let's talk.
There we go.
I think that, you know, we kind of touched on what I wanted to talk about, but I'm just going to go into a little more detail because I really wanted to talk about Representative Maxine Waters and her comments about the about what was going on in Minnesota. And I thought that it was really shameful and interesting at the same time that the judge would instruct the defense that would give them grounds to have the whole. He said that her comments would give them grounds to have
Auntie
the
Maxine.
whole. Yes, Auntie Maxine. That's a nickname. Auntie Maxine, 82 years old, been in the house ever since 1991. And anybody who knows anything about Maxine Waters knows that this is Maxine Waters. You know, she's always been a fierce advocate for social issues. You know, she's always been the one that will speak her mind. She's been the scapegoat and the target of the Republican Party for quite some time now. And she said, even in this instance, that she was not going to let them bully her into taking her words back because she said what she said. She meant it, you know. But I thought that the judge just planted this idea in the defense attorney's head that if and when there was a guilty verdict passed down, because I think I saw Donnie in the comments saying that they all knew what had to happen here. If not, you know, they was gonna burn that city down to the ground, and we all know it. You
Mhm.
know, and it was not just that city, just like Donnie said, the country. Because I mean, people were setting up protests all over the
Mhm.
country. We were all sitting back. We're not anywhere near Minnesota. We were sitting back on pins and needles waiting for this verdict. So we all knew what would happen if it didn't go the way that it should have went. But I think that he put it in his mind to try to have this verdict overturned on the grounds that her comments was I don't even know what his basis was for it. However, you know, everybody that I know, including some people that are in the legal community, said that the chances of that happening is slim to none. You
Mhm.
know, because she was exercising her First Amendment right to free speech. You know, just because you're an elected official doesn't mean that you don't have a right to free speech just like anybody else. She wasn't speaking in any official capacity, you know, she was speaking as Auntie Maxine, you know.
Mhm.
So I just I don't know. I'm happy that things went the way they were, and then the House wanted to censure her for her comments. And the thing that really struck me was that they wanted to accuse her of inciting a riot, but Donald Trump didn't. They say she incited insurrection, but Donald Trump didn't. You know, so here we are looking at this double standard once
Right.
again. You know, so I just think that it's so many things, and I think just like Twyla said, you know, I'll keep my eye on this thing and continue to watch because this is just the first step. You know, they
Mhm.
want to silence people. They want to silence anybody who is brown or black and that speaks their mind. You know, when Donald Trump did it, it was, oh, he was joking. He wasn't really serious. But
Mhm.
and he actually insurrection actually occurred after his words. But just the mere thought of her saying it was like, oh no, she you know, it was just so wrong on so many levels, and she was inciting insurrection, and she should be censured, and she should be removed from the House of Representatives. I mean, it was just so many things that came behind that, and everybody knows that she's famous for causing quiet chaos. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Non-violent protest. That's the name of the game for her and has been for the last 30 years. So nobody was shocked, surprised, or anything that she would say that because that's who she is. You know,
Mhm.
that's like telling Dr. King not to have a dream, you know, so that's who she is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. And let me piggyback on that. Let me get on a touchy subject. First of all, Cece, thank you. But that segues in something that now that we're here, we all have a chance to learn. One thing about me, I own up to my shortcomings. Y'all know I say what I am. I say what I am. I'm an ex West Baltimore Dauphine jailbird thug. Once again, the ex West Baltimore Dauphine jailbird thug. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm going to talk about some things that you could say what Cece said, where the lady just made a comment. Like, we'll use Stinky Blue. Stinky Blue was a good friend of mine, and we did horses together. Stinky Blue didn't stink. We called him Stinky Blue because he was around them horses and they stank. But when we called him Stinky Blue could outdress most of us and definitely could beat most of us because he was a tough guy. You know what I mean? So we watched what we said. Cece was talking about somebody, Auntie Maxine, who says things and it may come out one way and it taken another. Tell you about myself. Everybody in the panel, Karen and Gina, been around me forever. When I was a kid, a little boy, 50 years ago. 55 years ago. I got hit in my eye with a rock when I was 9, going on 10 years old. So it didn't make a big deal then, you know what I mean? But now that I'm 65, you work long hours, you get cataracts, you think like that. My vision is poor at best, and one of my eyes fine and well. I'm sitting back talking to Donnie. This is a conversation for you. When you say things to people, sometimes you may not mean them in just, but they may
Mhm.
come out the wrong way. Some people don't take it. My son Tay is in jail right now about these kids now. Anything to them is disrespect. Do y'all know that? You can't say anything disrespectful to anything. You say anything disrespectful to Tay, it goes out the way. We were sitting there doing a show, just like this. Doc came in, I chimed in while Donnie was doing the show, and I was talking and what have you, and I couldn't see his his monitor wasn't lit up to me. And I was explaining, I said, Donnie, I don't see you. And he said, everybody saw him, but he didn't see him. So Donnie's comment was, don't worry about him, man. Party's only looking out of one eye, so he can't see. Okay. Party's only looking out of one eye. Now, Gina, you've been knowing me for forever, since the kindergarten. At Druid Hill Park Swimming Pool, Donnie is my friend. He ain't saying nothing to hurt me. I always speak very highly of you. Karen, you've been around me. But what if I was a person that didn't like the way that somebody said something about one eye? Gina, you know me from back in the day. You know what I mean? Yeah, Donnie say, did not say it. He don't know what he said. Did he say it, CC? He said it. You don't know you said it. But I'm saying that was just a conversation. I know you didn't mean nothing by it. But the whole conversation, what I'm saying is you say stuff to people and you don't know what you said. You can't always take it back. I know good and well Donnie's my friend. He ain't gonna say nothing to me to hurt me purposely to make me look bad or nothing like that. I ain't worried about my eye. My eye been like that for 55 years. You know what I mean? Yet my eyes been like, yeah, misunderstood. But so did the lady when she made her comment. Everybody made that comment and misunderstood. You feel me? Donnie, when you said something, you just said, well, you don't say looking out that one eye. But that one eye could have been the one thing. Back in the day, Gina Lee can say, take a break wasn't like that.
I object.
Absolutely.
I object. I said you got to look at one situation with one eye. You missed it. You got to look at it. Everything is not what.
Let me say this. I think the only thing.
I wasn't talking about your eye. How you got to look at a situation. Balance. If you look at white media, they look at it with one eye, their own eye. They're not looking at it so that all of us see through their perspective. It's usually one eye. That's how we got to look at their stuff. I ain't talking about your eye. I have a lazy eye myself. Oh my God. I rest my case.
The only thing I want to say is that I think I have nothing against what she said. I think what she said was powerful and needed to be said. I just think timing might not have been.
And I agree with
Like
you
you
on
said,
that.
CC, don't want to
I do
give
agree that the timing may not have been the best time. The timing may not have been the best.
Timing was not.
I think that they get under the impression that once black and brown people are accomplished and they, you're in the House of Representatives or you run a business or something, that these social issues don't affect you just as deeply as they do anybody else. You know what I'm saying? She may be Maxine Waters, but she know at the end of the day, everybody doesn't know who Maxine Waters is.
Yeah, and they do, yeah.
A black woman. When somebody just walk up on her, when the police pull her over in her car or she stopped doing a traffic stop, she's just going to be another black woman. So she knows that. That being said, that she had the same issues that apply to everybody else also apply to her. So, I mean, I know she's never been a person that was known for a good timing, but and that was not a great time to say what she said, but she said what she said.
Piggybacking on that, my computer acted up. I thought Donnie turned me off. You know what I mean? You never know. So that's what I'm saying. But that whole thing was a learning point. This was what I'm saying, how that lady said something and they took it out of context. Donnie's been my friend forever. He ain't saying nothing to embarrass me, to hurt my feelings or nothing like that. He just said something. It came out his mouth. He said it. He no problem remember saying it, but he said it. But let me tell y'all something. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Some little things, as you get older, and Gina Lee knows me as a teenage thug at the swimming pool, I couldn't have took that. But I don't have no complexes about my eye because my eyes been like that for 55 years. You get what I'm saying? That lady said something. The judge is going. The reason why I'm saying it.
I did not say that.
You make CC. Who somebody? Did he say it, CC?
I said look at a situation with one eye. Just help him.
Hey, you ain't got to spend it. Bye, Donnie.
But
Bye.
He can come back.
Hold up,
Come back on there.
Listen, hold on. You get your point. Let me get my point. See, now he wanted a do-over. He didn't do anything on purpose or vicious, but what I'm saying about these kids, y'all know what these kids, they don't care. My son Tay, you just respected Tay. Is it hell to pay? It's hell to pay. Y'all, that lady now.
Well, a lot of times we're not listening.
Right.
Donnie,
They don't know what disrespect is, honestly.
You get here. Listen, that lady said something, and the judge tried to give her a segue, CC, to say that now you have grounds for a mistrial. Here's a lady that said, for how long has she been in Congress?
30 years.
35 years if she's been in Congress. So she's probably been in politics for 40. Do you know how many statements she's made, how many things she said? You took that one thing and forgot all about, as CC said, Martin Luther King, the dream that he had. All you knew is the one thing that he did. Yeah, he messed around with his girlfriend when he was 12. Anyhow, I don't monopolize that. What I'm saying to everybody is, you know, when you say things and stuff like that, think about it, because there's consequences to it. What I'm saying to you can't always take everything back. And what I'm saying to us panel and older people like us, we old enough to know that we're too damn old to be stupid and worry about some dumb stuff. We're too old to be stupid or worry about some dumb stuff. Moving right along. Karen, we're going to go over to you. What's your topic? Karen, I'm Party Marty. What's your topic tonight? Let's talk.
I'm Karen Tate reporting for Party Marty. Let's talk.
Boy, we all got that thing there. Gina, you started something. Well, we got it now. We got it now. Go ahead.
I wanted to touch, basically, it kind of leads into what we're talking about with the bracelet and the inmates and just how these companies are making money and literally people's lives are being leased. Mm-hmm. Now, the article I found dated back to 2012, but it's still happening in some parts of the independent school district in Texas, where literally, you know, bodies equal dollars for the schools. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to track these students through their ID cards. They have chips in the ID cards to track the students for attendance. And, you know, and I was talking to my husband about it earlier. I was like, well, all they got to do is just stick it in the desk somewhere. I mean, if it shows them in classroom B, then it shows them in classroom B, you know. But they're looking at, I think, a $261,000 investment would be a $2 million return based on the number of students in that one independent school district in Texas. And it was in, I think it was in San Antonio. And it's the Anson Jones School was the first school that did it. And just like we're talking about the school to prison pipeline, we're talking about, you know, people making money off the backs of poor, disenfranchised, and now children who really don't have who don't have a choice. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's basically it. And I just think, you know, it's just atrocious, you know, just the greed of how people are trying to make money, you know, off the educational system and the prison system. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a disgrace.
Making it.
And the whole thing about it is, yeah, just like they're actually making this money, but what are they doing with the money?
Hey, you know, let me jump in there.
Living Donnie, the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Right, and Donnie, you could probably put some stats up. I want y'all to think back. Do you know how many things that we had in the city of Baltimore that they told us was going to solve our problems? Do you remember when the lottery came up? All that money was going to go to us. Do you remember when they built the stadium? It was going to go to us. The Horseshoe Casino, go to us. What was it? The other thing, the lottery was going to go to us. The red light cameras, go to us. We used to be called the city that reads. 1973. Okay, I got to figure out what exactly that means. But Donnie, all this money, all these different avenues that we have, all these things, $1 million returns, that who's seeing any money from it? The lottery. And you remember, what was the other thing? Downtown, they had the racing cars,
oh yeah, that race that they had called coming through downtown or something. That was what Stephanie Rawlings Blake
It was like NASCAR. It was a NASCAR race.
Don't say no Gina's on the line.
Grand Prix.
Talking about the Rollins, that's a family. Don't say no phone off the hook. But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look at our Grand Prix. Look at all these things that we had that was supposed to make us some money. Do you know I done sent some people to college just from the red light cameras that I keep getting going to.
Here's the education lottery here, and there's a percentage that's supposed to go to the school systems. Well, it doesn't go to the particular school system. It's actually a lottery for the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And not only that, like the rate doesn't increase. I know here in the state of Maryland. So whatever it was, and I think Donnie put up 1973 is when the lottery came through and came up with that plan or whatever. The rate has not changed from whenever it was previously established, right? Mm-hmm. So even if there is money going in, it doesn't meet the needs of what our children need or what our communities need.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's
maybe the money that's going into the school system must be going to all of these principals that's on administrative leave and still making damn near six figures, if not six figures. These people, they on investigation on administrative leave and still home earning $80,000-$90,000 while they under investigation.
Wow.
And hey, Gina, it's really a mismanagement of funds because those things
or paying for them ghost students.
Ghost students,
right? Or paying for those ghost students.
Managed federally, where it's a line item, and so the states really, they just have it's a free for all. They can really do what they want to do. If I wash your back, you wash mine, and I'll give you a couple, grease your hand over here, and you grease my hand over there. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's a lot. I know here, like in Baltimore City, right? Each school is like seen as an independent entity. They have their own budgets. They are allotted an allotment of money based on the number of students that they have.
Yes.
And that's separate from salaries, right? So salaries as a whole, that comes off the top, and then you have that allotment. And so, and when the district sent that over, not that the district was doing any better prior to making those separate entities responsible for their budgets, but it's like things kind of went haywire. Like, there was really no way to hold people accountable, or there was all of these barriers to hold people accountable for the mismanagement of funds. So,
and it's that way here. The schools they operate independently with their budget based on what the school board, divvies up per student, at that particular school, and then everything else has to be fundraisers, but from the parents, from the PTA, and everything else, the booster club and all that. So. Now I will tell you this. In this little rinky-dink county I live in, I tell you this: we've had some mismanagement, and we've had some people go to jail for real, and they wasn't brown and black people.
And see, in Baltimore, something that has never happened that I can recall. Right? Nobody's ever really been held accountable for the mismanagement. And it's not just happening in our school system. It's happening in school, like you said, it's happening in school systems across the country with this mismanagement. Unfortunately for us, the spotlight is always in Baltimore City. For whatever reason, in the state of Maryland, Baltimore City is the black eye. When really they're not the only district having an issue.
Right. Now
it seems like it happens again and again that I wonder if there are any plans, and I'm not even completely familiar with what the plans are going forward, but are there any plans to have civilian oversight? I mean, it has to have some kind of system of checks and balances in place, because, obviously the get along, the go along is not working. And this money is disappearing. We fail on the students, we fail on the parents, we just failing all the way around. So we got to have some kind of system of checks and balances in place where somebody is coming to check. Every school has their own budget to come and say, okay, not these orders with the I scratch your back and you scratch mine. Somebody that's totally independent that'll come in and say, okay, you spent this on X, Y, and Z, and this is what your budget is. Well, where's this? Where's that money? Why do we have books? Something else. It's got to be a solution.
Excuse me 1 second. Let me pay some bills. Don't forget where this comes from, blackusa.news. The Donnie Glover Show, BMoreNews.com. Our illustrious producer Donnie Glover has a show on every morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on BlackUSA.News. We'll talk a lot of politics, a lot of influential people on there. Every night at 7 p.m. to 8 or 8:30, he has a different topic. You know, if you don't know and you're sitting back listening to us and stuff, you're getting a lot of information there. We're learning a lot. I don't know if anybody else learned anything, but I am. But I want you to know, people on this panel do their research. You know what I mean? If you ever watching, and I guess Donnie will teach us more about. I want to find out, Donnie, is it affordable to, advertise my company, Party Marty's Moon Bouncers across the bottom. I see Black Lawyers Roundtable. I see different things down there that people evidently advertise that's going on. And, he didn't come up to us telling us about what we need to pay. He didn't come up to me telling me about getting a bunch of money or what have you or something like that. He's just giving out a lot of information, but I'm sure these shows aren't free. But anyway, Party Marty's Moon Bouncer. You see that right there? That's us. That's us. That believes that's me. That belongs to us. That's us going across the screen. Party Marty's Moon Bouncers. 410-800-6628. Hey, the governor and Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci said, get outside. You know what I mean? It's nice outside there. Get your kids a moon bounce. Get your kids a water slide. Do some things. Call us 410-800-6628. But y'all, back to the show. We touched on a bunch of topics. We get around towards the last 10 minutes or so, we let the panel move around. It's something I want to bring up. My conversation is about just bettering yourself. Just bettering yourself, people. Just bettering yourself. It's some stuff that you're doing now. If you're doing the same thing 20 years later, maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe you're doing something wrong. You got to try to better yourself with whatever. With whatever. And the first thing to do, I don't agree with everybody. I'm happy for Twila. Got a bunch of degrees on the wall. Hey, happy for Donnie going back to school, bunch of degrees. My good friend Majid, my wife's bestie, went back to school at 40-some years old to get her degree and stuff like that. Like I told you, anywhere in the hell, I'm doing it. You feel what I'm saying? But people are doing something to better themselves. I don't care if bettering yourself means lose 10 pounds. I don't care if bettering yourself means walking an extra 5 minutes. I don't care if bettering yourself means, as they're doing now, see, getting a newer phone. You got the iPhone 5 now, you got the iPhone 10. Try to find out what you can do, y'all, to just step it up a notch. Step it up a notch. That's a small thing. I'm saying that to piggyback on the verdict that was handed out for Mr. George Floyd. The jury in America, if everybody says, I don't believe it now, sure we don't believe it. Like Twila said, and Gina, we're going to wait till see how much time he actually get. But in the meantime, y'all, say that the verdict was guilty. Say that we did better. Say that, y'all, we did better. Say there's a change. My wife said something, and most of y'all said this on a panel a while back, and I never thought about it. I said, we doing better with pregnancy. We're doing better with getting people in trouble. My wife and the rest of y'all said, we ain't doing no better. We just got cell phones now. It's being filmed. There's more people over there that's taking pictures of it, and the world gets to see it. So, I mean, that's about where it is. But we're doing a little better. If we got a guilty verdict, let's not give everything a black eye and figure out everything that went wrong. Or I don't believe it. It can't be this. Today, people, it's a good day. Today is a good day. We did a little better. We bettered ourselves. Okay, y'all, who got a topic? Gina, you in and out so much. What, you got a topic you want to talk about? Is anybody with a topic they want to talk about this evening?
I mean, I agree with that. I think, in this trying time, in pandemic times, people just have to, figure out something to focus on. Self-care, if it means improving your health, reading a book, being more engaged and active with your kids. I mean, children have been home, 13, 14 months. So this should have been a time where families, well, for me, I want to kill my children, but for families, bond, for them to bond and, create some new, just some new memories and just an opportunity to create new memories. And so I agree. I mean, I could say for myself, like, I've been struggling with weight loss. And so some days I look at YouTube, I'll sit down and watch the YouTube video for 45 minutes. Other days I'll get up and I'll actually do the routine that's on. So just doing something to make yourself feel good, and to just some sort of self-care, whatever that looks like, I think is definitely important.
And we also have to remind ourselves, especially those of us who are the caretakers of the family, the rock, the person that everybody calls with their problems. We have to get through our mind that self-care is not selfish. You have to be the best version of yourself, but be able to jump up and jump in your overalls and run around and put out all these fires. And people don't realize that sometimes, people like nerds, as my husband calls us, Twila, they don't realize that sometimes we get mentally exhausted. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people want to know, like, what you've been doing all day that you're so tired. Sometimes my mind is just tired. Sometimes I just want to sit down and look at the TV and just look at something that just don't make no sense.
Self-care,
you know what I'm saying?
Selfish.
We have to learn that, in order to be the best version of yourself and take care of all of those people around you, you have to take care of yourself first. I have one day a week, even though I'm retired and I ain't digging no ditches and hauling no bricks or nothing these days, but I have to have one day a week where I can just totally just not today, and whenever anybody call me with the bridge is falling down, the house fell on top, people call me with the weirdest things that I don't know. I just give off the vibe that I can help them take care of it, but sometimes I had to tell them, call me back tomorrow, not today. You know what I'm saying? And that's not, my husband often laughs at me for looking at the phone and not answering it. But I think that's why they put call ID on it, so I can make a choice. Just because you call and you want to talk to me, that doesn't mean that I want to talk to you. Yeah. But that was a learned behavior. I had to learn to take care of me.
Let me say something. I'm thinking about my nephew, Andre. Andre and Karen are grown, but they are my nephews and nieces. You know what I mean? Their kids are really my great nephews and nieces, but it's funny. Karen is a homeschool teacher, watch your kids, keep your kids, all this kind of stuff. So she's been raising kids. She has 3 kids. She's been raising kids all her life. Now it's so funny because Karen was an at-home mom, and now Karen works. I can't say that'll come around like a Mexican. That's how we know we do better than that. That's what I learned not to say. But Karen works a lot of jobs. Anyway, it's so funny. Andre, which is her husband, I told you, he's Holy Roly Bible told us. Andre called me the other day to tell me that Karen bought him a car. Now, Andre keep nice cars. Andre got a Porsche, he got trucks, he keep nice cars and stuff. And she bought him a nice car. But he has never been so fascinated with the fact that he has this car. And it took me for a minute to realize what was going on. See, it was the Karen bought. That's what it was. It's just funny how some small things that don't seem like a lot can be a lot to a person. Does that make sense to the panel? Does that make sense? It doesn't seem like a lot because, like I said, Andre got a Porsche and he bought him a nice car, stuff like that. But Karen did what we're calling reinvented herself. Is a stay-at-home mom that has done this and done that, stayed home. Now she out in the street working on. Where you at? I'm at work. I can't do this. I'm doing that. I'm on lunch break. I said, I thought you couldn't talk on the phone. She the kind of person that actually wait till she go on lunch break, talk on her phone. I talk on my phone to work under the desk, in the bathroom, with my earpiece. You know what I mean? She that, well, we can't work. We can't talk at work. I'm always going to keep it going. But reinvent yourself. Reinvent yourself sometime. Donnie, I'm put Donnie business out there. But since I already did put Donnie business out there, Donnie will do these podcasts. He did a radio show. He'll do this podcast. You watch. It won't be too long for Donnie to start throwing his hand in television. I'm telling you what I know. He reinvents himself. Y'all find out what you can do to keep challenging yourself, to go to the next thing. You don't even have to better yourself, but just do something different. I don't care if you even just change what time you eat dinner. That's what's up. Okay, y'all, out to the panel, everybody. Here we go. Anybody got a topic? We're on our last 10 minutes. Anybody got a burn desire, a topic they want to talk about? First of all, you're all muted, so you can't talk about nothing.
Well, I don't have anything burning, but I do want to just piggyback on the self-care. And you're right. Being at home for over 25 years, taking care of my husband, taking care of my children, I have learned to reinvent myself. So I've always been a part of the community, and I work, part-time, and I enjoy what I do. But I have learned even in that, when I come home in the evening, even today, if I wasn't having to be here on the podcast, me and my dog will be across the street at the park, just walking, enjoying the outdoors, enjoying the fresh air, taking some time for myself. I've learned to do that. I always never had time for it. Had to be here, had to be there.
And another thing, Karen, that we have to learn as mothers, which is a real hard pill to swallow, is that we have to learn to not let our grown children take us out. You know what I'm saying? I have to tell my children all the time, look, I already gave you 20 years. You will not get the next 20. I'm going to travel. I'm going to eat what I want, wear what I want, say what I want, and go where I want. So it's all of that drama that you calling me up with, that 20-year-old drama, you got to figure that out on your own, because I am not available for the nonsense.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think, rest in peace, DMX. Rest in peace, Donnie Goodwin. It's funny. I look at Twyla now. I looked at her son the other day in the background, walking around the house and, doing, he's a big boy now, but I knew them when they was little bad kids. Them two little kids, they play. They rough kids. They play. I mean, they run back and forth, make noise and stuff like that, and
Twyla. And they're 12 and 13. They still do.
Do they? Well, I don't know, because they was, because I own a Moon Bounce company. She ran the company, so they played with stuff, and I watched that. But Twyla always had time for them, like the Kerns. She always had the kids with her and everything. But it's truly amazing. It's funny how when he walked in the room, he laughed and joked with Mom. But then soon something go wrong. Karen, did you see her look at him and say, "Excuse me"? He knew right then. "Excuse me." He was touching the computer doing something. Once he gave her that, she gave him that, "Excuse me." All right, okay, I see him. Oh, I see him walk out the room then, you know what I mean?
So, she gave him that church mother from the pulpit.
I said it because it's funny. My wife is funny with her kids with money. My kids owe me $500 and they give me $400. I'm so happy to get that $400. I don't give a darn about that $100. I'm happy to get it. CC kids owe $500. They give her $480. She'll look back. She say, "Thank you, thank you." And then when they get ready to leave out the door, she say, "I'll get that other 20 from you Friday." I be looking like.
And let me tell you something. Let me tell you a reason why. This is the difference between my husband and I. He is one. I mean, he has sons too, but he is like the best girl dad ever. Like any girl would want him for a father. But boys are different. I am not raising any man child, not on my watch. I think that a man is supposed to stand in his truth and be a man. My husband is the man of the family. He's the provider, all of those things that say I am man, he is it, and I want the same thing for my boys. I don't want them to ever get in their mind that it's okay to live off of a woman. And your mother is a woman too. Alone is alone. I'm your mother. I will give you money. But if you come to me and you say, "Can I borrow?" I expect it to be paid back in full. I don't care who you are, because you can't live free in this world. And we got too many men out here. Too bad we don't have Al here to touch on this subject, because this is like one of his specialties. Yeah, but we had too many men out here that think that that's cool. It's okay. Your first place, you would be surprised how many men have never even had their own place. Every place that they ever had outside of being under their mother's roof was living with some woman. You know what I'm saying? I told my sons, "Hey, you get your place and bring her to your place sometime." You know what I'm saying? You cook her dinner. If you don't know how to do anything, I told my boys to make sure you can cook one good meal. You know what I'm saying? If you can't do nothing else, one day out the week she can come home and kick her feet up and you can cook her dinner.
Pooh Bus, Johnny, you're going to hell for that. And you know what is funny? If we think about how that's changed so much too in my generation. I always bring up with Gina because I'm saying we've been friends since the kindergarten. And we hung out as teenagers, went to school, did all these things, you know what I mean, as young people. But we worked at Druid Hill Park swimming pool. And it was no girly girls there. No dainty girls. It was funny, but every Sunday we rode horses, right, Gina? When we rode horses, Gina rode horses. I mean, we didn't know no better. When we was in the pool fight, we expected the girls to be fighting like everybody else. I didn't grow up with any sisters. I got 5 brothers.
That's
you know,
right.
I'm the baby. 5 brothers. When we came along, the girls were hands on. You know, they were hands on and stuff like that. Gina, when we was fighting. When the guys was lifeguards, Gina was a lifeguard. You get what I'm saying? Karen, I tease Karen.
See, when we went up, when we needed to go over another pool.
Yeah.
When we need to go to another pool and show up, everybody went.
Everybody went. It was just so different. We were raised so differently. You know what I mean? Twyla is not ashamed of the fact. You heard Twyla say, she said, I'm a single parent. And she said, I've been a single parent forever. I mean, but y'all, people put themselves in a position where they can't make it because they never been forced to make it. You get what I'm saying? If you're a single parent now and you always been a chump and you don't know how to make it, he fall apart, you just done because he left you. I don't want to live no more. I'm going to kill myself. Come on, man. Come on, reinvent yourself, y'all. You got to find a plan B. You got to be able to move past that. That was the format for me saying, y'all, today was a good day. Donnie?
Can I take Al's role?
Yeah, take Al's role, Donnie. Daddy issues. You know what I mean? Hey, Don, here's a prime example here, as Donnie did, as he segued in. You know what I mean? Let me teach you. Let me do this. What I learned this way. Donnie, we got 10 minutes. My name is Marty. Let's talk. What's your topic tonight, Donnie? Let me see if you're ready.
I missed all of that. Look, my mother had, I blew that, okay? I'm on Marty, let's talk. Donnie Glover.
There you go. You in there. Come on, panel. He got it. Go ahead.
My mother had 3 rules.
Yeah.
She batted 4 for 4. I was the big. Number 1. At 18, you are leaving here.
Right.
That's number 1. Number 2, in the meantime, don't bring no babies across that door. And number 3, own your own house.
Okay, that's
but at
good
18, college, military, work, but you are leaving here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Real talk.
You know what? I
don't blame I told my boys from the jump, you cannot be 30 years old living in my basement. That is not even an option. So, you got to do something. Make some moves to secure your future.
Let me tell you what my parents did to me.
They was on the 1830 plan. She said, when you turn 18, you got 30 days.
Wow.
I like that.
And she followed through with it.
I don't know what my children out here in the wolves at 18, but they do know that they have to go to college. And even if we live walking distance to Morgan, even if my children decide to go to Morgan, they have to live on campus.
Cool.
Like, I feel like they need that responsibility, some independence, all of those things that come along with being in that 18 to 21, 24-year-old age range when you're trying to find yourself, right? So you have to go to college, you'll find something productive to do. You have to be employed. And, if you go to college, you have to live on campus. Like, you just can't.
The one with the 1830 plan, she had 3 kids. 1 went to the military and 2 went to college. The middle one that went to college decided, and she had too much fun, and it just wasn't her cup of tea. And she decided that she wanted to go into entertainment, so she moved to Atlanta, and she works for the IRS. But 1830, and the other one is he's about to graduate college, and he's a rising track star. He's going to be an Olympian. So it worked for them, and then and they supported them. In that 1830, I mean, it wasn't just like you're on your own,
right?
But they had to. I'll help you and I'll assist you out there trying to make your own way. You ain't gonna never have to worry about
that is the plan.
being
And
hungry.
that's what I tell my children. By no means does that mean that I'm dropping you off for the
Right.
wolves or something like that. If you need help, that's what parents are for.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'd rather help you stay out there than let you come in here.
Right.
So
It's funny when I say reinvent yourself and change. But you know, I reinvented myself. I become a dog owner. This dog runs this house. Did you see Cookie jumping all around here just a minute ago? If any of y'all on Facebook, we dropped that dog off at the groomer on Friday. We had date night. I wanted to spend some time with my wife, so we had date night. We're supposed to pick up Saturday. Saturday, we go to get the dog. The lady said, well, I didn't get a chance to groom the dog. Can she stay until Sunday? So I thought, yeah, that's good. That's some more time. Man, I sat in this house, boy, next about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I was missing my dog so much. I was so overwhelmed, you know what I mean? That lady had my dog like she stole the dog or something. I was so overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do. And my wife thinking about, we got some time and stuff. I'm saying, well, I'm inside the bed. I got a headache. I ain't got no time. I'm missing a dog. You feel me? You get ready for us. But anyhow, it's just truly amazing how times change and people change. I've never been a dog person. Now the dog runs me. She don't run CC because she got, we sitting there watching, doing a thing. After she didn't get no attention, she jump up in my lap and all that. I'm scared to tell her no. But anyway, that's what we're going to do, y'all. We got about 4 minutes. Anybody got something they want to talk about? Okay, I'll talk about this. I want to talk about the
I just
panel.
want to say,
Go ahead, Dina.
rest in peace to Freddie Gray. Yesterday was the anniversary of his death.
Mhm.
Wow.
yeah.
Well, that's our historian. Good point. Rest in peace, Freddie Gray. Rest in peace, George Floyd. Rest in peace, Andre,
DMX,
DMX. Rest in peace, just so many people. Martin Luther
Walter
King.
Mondale.
Yeah, Hey, y'all, just they
Yeah. And
have a sad.
I got an idea. I think
What's that?
if we make bullets real expensive, we can get some of these guns off the street.
Yeah, and that was another thing. Like,
Once they
what
run
did
out of bullets, can't afford to go get some more.
right? Like, what did y'all think about
Huh?
the FedEx shooting the other day? The young man that shot all those
Isn't
people at
that
the FedEx facility, and then he had already had
you
his
know
gun
you
taken
know
away.
it's been 50 mass shootings since the Asian spa shooting. 50 in this country.
It was one today,
50.
I believe. I don't know where it was, but there was
It was
one.
in New York. It
Yep.
was in West
Something happened
Hampstead,
in
New
New
York.
York,
West Hampstead at the Stop and Shop
but
grocery
but
store.
but
My
you
brother
know
lives
my
there.
Let them
point that I was
let them go
making
buy
about
the guns. Just make the bullets.
$1
The
million
unfortunate
a
part is a
bullet.
lot of the folks who are out
Let them
here
go buy the guns. Just make the bullets real expensive.
people out here committing these crimes are not legalized guns, right? So the bullets, some of them they're not paying for these bullets. They're getting them in a legal sort of way, and that's the unfortunate part about it.
and the young man with the FedEx
Yep.
shooting, he had already had his guns taken away during a mental health check, and somehow he fell through the cracks and was able to go buy another gun before the case was even heard in front of a judge, and they couldn't find it in the system. I mean, the system is just seriously broken.
It is.
All right, y'all. It's getting close to that time. Gina Lee, while we got you in there, closing thoughts tonight, Gina. Gina Lee, closing
All I
thoughts.
say is if you have if you got the vaccination, get it. If you've gotten it, know that you can still get COVID, but you won't die.
Thanks, Gina. Good point. CC, closing thoughts.
That we really all need to remain vigilant and speaking up for our rights. We have to know that racism didn't just start and it didn't end with the verdict of today's trial.
Wow.
You know, we have to make sure that we continue to have these difficult conversations with our children, especially our young men and women of color, you know, and just, you know, we have to try to be the change that we want to see.
That's true. Karen, Holy Roly Bible told her. Closing thoughts.
Well, I guess if I have to say anything, follow the money. Some don't look right. Some don't smell right. You see something, say something. You hear something, say something. Follow the money.
Thank you. Walla, closing thoughts.
So I just want to piggyback on Party Marty and his idea about reinventing yourself. And again, just the importance of self-preservation and self-care.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like. Go to the doctors, go to the dentist, take your kids to the doctors, take a day off, walk around the block, walk around the lake, whatever it is. Just take that time.
Thank you. Hey, we're going to thank Donnie Glover for jumping in there. Donnie Glover, you got a closing thought? You want to get in this thing?
Treat people like you want to be treated.
Yeah, that hits home. All right, y'all. Y'all know how we do. Once again, what another great show. Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. Hey, y'all, real talk. As I always say, I always want to thank the panel for the job that they do. Thank you, Donnie Glover, Be More News, blackusa.news, bemorenews.com. You know what I mean? Michael Russell, what's up? Hey, listen, everybody that's out there listening to stuff, I really appreciate y'all that chime in on his. D. Allen, Gloria and Carl Edmonds, Frank and Brittany. I mean, BB and then Miss Sharon. Everybody that listens. My good friend Irvin Reed will be with us next week because we talking some politics too. I just want to thank y'all for everybody chiming in and just keep this thing going, y'all. Keep this thing going. Y'all know how I'm bringing this home. You know, this is not a black show. This is not a white show. This is just an informative show. First of all, to the jury, thank you for getting that guilty verdict. If no more than for this fool to go to jail, but stop us from burning down our damn city. All right, Eminem has a great song that takes us in. It's how I live my life, and I always like it. It simply says, you got to lose yourself with the music, the moment. You got to own it. People, never let it go. I only got one shot for its Party Marty. Let's talk. And I did not miss a show or blow. My opportunity came once in a lifetime, yo. Everybody, thank you for a good evening. Thank you for a good show. To God be the glory. Good night, C. Good night, Karen. Good night, Walla. Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. God bless everybody. John Boy. Hey, Donnie, great job again, per usual. Everybody, y'all, have an awesome day in the Lord. To God be the glory.
Good night.
Good night, baby.